I'll move you over there so I'm looking at the screen correctly. And it says we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the special BS edition of Migtown Arcade. Oh god, I can hear myself. Why can I hear myself? Okay, well, whatever. I'll deal with that later. We're talking effed up mechanics in games today, right, Drex?
Yeah, all things frustrating, man. And I mean, this could
mic.
literally be a. Wait, is my mic messed up? Hold on.
Might be. Usually, I could tell when you sound really echoey.
No, it says Yeti mic. Wait, hold on. Yeah, and then Yeti mic.
Oh,
yeah, it
okay.
should be working. How do I sound now?
Yeah, you just sound a little loud. Here, maybe I can turn you down. No, let me do it from the console here.
Oh yeah, the mic volume was all up.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
That'll okay. Yeah, you sound better. Your camera looks like looks potato mode for some reason.
No, so I have it taped. I need to get back behind there and get it all retaped. Okay.
Oh, there you go. James comes in hot with the best effed up game mechanic.
Oh, yeah, the game doesn't work, but the microtransaction. So, when companies want to take your money, this is like a rule of life, right? When someone wants to take something from you, that always works, right? Like a payment processor is always functional, fully functional, to take from you, right? But when it comes time to give you money, the IRS seems to have their hands tied. You need to make a return on something, and we have this system. Can you call this number? But when it comes time to take, it is instantaneous, right? Thanos snap, bam, we got you.
My favorite is if you one of the few people who actually orders directly from a manufacturer, and then it's defective, and they say, "Well, you gotta pay the shipping to get it back to us, so we can prove it's defective."
Of course. I mean, it's a sham. But one of the things that I've noticed is the thing about games. What inspired this is I was talking to my cousin, and I said, you know, what's kind of crazy is, as much as we complain about certain things, I think everybody knows if a game isn't frustrating enough, it doesn't work. Right? Like I think there's like a threshold for what you need, because if you don't have enough frustration, it's like, as a gamer, you're kind of like, it was either too easy, maybe your character's too OP. There's usually something wrong with the game, fundamentally wrong with the game, right? And if it's too frustrating, usually a game that's too frustrating is because the game itself is broken, right? Like I've seen games that are just glitchy. Like I'll give you a prime example. Superman 64 is a fundamentally bad game. You see what I'm saying? E.T. that was buried in the desert is a bad game. So I don't count those because they're just broken games. Where the beauty of this episode is, it's all about talking about those games that they're full-fledged, working. They're usually good games. However, within that greatness lies something that just gets under your skin. And the reason why it's so important to have these things get under your skin is because when you do overcome these obstacles, right? The reward is far more rewarding than just say like, because I mean, let's face it, games today, this started happening probably in the mid 2000s. Save points became much more gratuitous, right? You start getting autosave. Autosave is a new thing. There's people out there who they grew up in a certain era of games now where it's always been the norm. If you are of a certain age, you guys understand, man, there were games that were brutally difficult. And when you lost your lives and if you had continues, if you lost those, that was it. Game over. You start at level 1. Like if you were playing a game like Russian Attack. So Russian Attack, I think the game was basically the same whether you had one player or two. It was one of those, because there's only a couple of games in gaming history that are actually more difficult 2-player than one, right? Like Battletoads being one of them. But when you're playing Russian Attack, you're getting bombarded because Enemies are in towers shooting at you diagonal, even though your guy doesn't move diagonal. And then there's dogs coming on the ground running, but there's guys running and shooting at the same time. So, but you can't stop, because if you stop, you get killed. For those of you who played through, like, I think it's the second or third level Russian attack, is one of the most notorious for this. So as you jump to evade a gunshot or a dog, something comes up under you, or you get hit from the other angle, and you just kind of have that look. Everyone knows the look, Tim. It's the look of you can't believe it just happened, but you knew it was going to happen, right? Like,
yeah, you have the controller in your hand, and your hand's laid on your lap, and you just go, really?
Really? One of the other things that people don't talk about enough, especially if you're an old school gamer, hit stun, right? Hit stun seems to always affect your player character far more than the computer. The CPU gets hit and they're just like this. They just go through bullets. No problem. Go through hazards. No problem. But your guy, Mega Man, for those of you guys who play Mega Man gets hit. He's caught in hit stun for about a full second. And in a video game, a full 1001, 1002. That's a long time in a video game. That's enough time for you to die and fall on spikes or get hit into a pit, right? Because in all old school games, there's always a pit for no reason, right? Disappearing, reappearing blocks for no reason. Like, Tim, you could just have a part of the game in that level. You just walk over, right? Maybe have some enemies. No, Mega Man decided we're gonna have the You're like, are you serious? Like, why is this in the game? Well, you know why it's in the game. Frustration. They know it's gonna break your spirit, and like deep down, that's what you need. You don't realize you need it, but it's like it. I think all of this goes back to character development. Like, as you, the player, like you as a human being, you gain character. This makes you stronger. Just dealing with some of this tomfoolery, right? Because you're playing games, you kind of like look over your shoulder, like, are they really doing this to me?
Yeah, I've got a few to chime in with here.
Go ahead.
This is a passionate subject for me. I'm gonna go with obviously the one from one of my favorite games of all time, and certainly my favorite franchise of all time. Ocelot killing you in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yep.
No continues. You have to reload your save. Hey Drex, if you hadn't saved in a little while before you get to Ocelot.
No, you know what? I do remember this in Metal Gear Solid 1. I can't say that's frustrating only for one reason. Do you remember? It's Mei Ling.
Mei Ling
gives
calls
you a call, and she says you haven't saved in a while. And I remember going, well, that came out of left field.
Yeah.
Huh. So I saved.
Okay, so there's actually a point, right? There's actually a flag in the game's programming that says how long it's been since you saved for her to trigger that call from her.
Yep.
And it's a very long walk back from the tank hangar.
Oh, yeah.
So you go back and get the PSG-1, you kill Sniper Wolf, right? Or, well, you wound her. You think you killed her. And anytime before going back and fighting Raven is the flag that she uses to call you. Mm-hmm. So you can lose all of that backtrack progress where you're suddenly back there with Meryl, who just got shot, and you're like, I have to go all the way back to the tank hangar again?
Yep. But at least the game gives you a hint. I mean, back in the day, you didn't get a hint. You just were playing the game and like, wait, what?
And in talking about autosave, because saving was a game mechanic in Metal Gear, where you'd have the codec conversation with Mei Ling. She'd give you advice or hints. She'd drop lore on you. Sometimes, especially towards the end of the game, she would drop game lore on you. So, I mean, saving was built. It was a part of the game.
Well, it's funny you say that because certain games, another one of those things that was frustrating, games that had finite saves, right? You know, this is something that came about in the, once we got to the PS1 era, N64 era. Certain games had a finite number of saves, right? Like Resident Evil is notorious for that with the ink ribbons. You had to get an ink ribbon in order to save the game. And of course, when you first play a game, because you don't know where this story is headed, when do you need to save, when it's going to get difficult, you would save much more frequently. Like, because I mean, you know how this works. It's like anything else. Once you've been through the journey, you know where this is where the boss fight is, or this is when the hard part is. But as a noob, when you don't know that, you're just like, oh my god, man, I've gotten like 5 items, I've done some stuff, time to save. Like, you go look at anyone's save game progress in a game, the first playthrough, you have a ridiculous number of saves, right? Because you keep thinking that something bad is going to happen and you don't want to backtrack. It's just one of those glorious moments, man. Glorious moments.
We got here's a pretty decent one. Whenever you're playing a shooter and you hit the reload button, but if you try to shoot before the animation finishes, you're still empty, right? Some games, the animation is like slapping the side of the gun. Battlefield was real bad for that one, where for some reason the gun isn't fully reloaded until for some reason you slap the upper receiver.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, yeah, and you have to go through. Here's the thing, though. That in and of itself is frustrating. Animations, right? A lot of games don't let you do certain things until the animation goes through. And you're like, wait, what? And it's one of those things that I can't help but laugh at, because you play it through a game and your guy, like I said, whether it be hit stun, certain stuff, you get caught in an animation. You're like, wait a minute, how is this even a thing? So, I don't know. I just there's so many like little things in games. One of the things that gets forgotten is there are openings in games, right? You boot up the game, especially old school games, right? And the music and the intro lets you know it's going to be hard, right? You don't quite understand why. Oh yeah, oh god, the input reading,
input cues. Oh, Drex. So I don't know, you're not much of a PC gamer, but so I do play a couple of RPG games online, right? Amazon's New World is one of them. They have the worst action queue ever, because anything of that similar genre, World of Warcraft, Dota, they have similar, like, you spend the entire time clicking that left mouse button, right? Mm-hmm. And that's your, like, attack button, cast a spell or attack or whatever your character does. But if you don't just, you button mash, you can't help it in a game like that, right? But then your guy's doing his little animation, you're like, oh, dodge. No, you're still doing your attack animation, so now you can't roll to the side and dodge.
Yeah, delayed input is one thing, but Mao is most likely referring to fighting games. For those of us who grew up on fighting games like I did, input reads was a CPU issue. So the cheesy era, it's pure cheese, because you can be the best player in the world. It's like when you design a supercomputer. Like in a fighting game, you can literally design it so the computer can win every time, right? Because if a computer can do input reads, you can't win. And every now and then you go to like an arcade, especially in those eras, right? That was arcade era. You go to the arcade, you're having a good time. You look over and see a fighting game and you're like, oh, that looks cool. You put in your 50 cents, your 2 tokens, you push start, you pick your character, and all of a sudden something hits you. You're like, wait a minute. I'm not saying I'm the best player in the world, but I shouldn't be getting just bodied like this, right? And then it hits you. Wait a minute. The computer's reading my inputs. How did it know I was going to jump at this exact time?
Sports games are bad for that one.
Yeah.
That was going to be my second rant. Drex, the difficulty slider in sports games.
Yeah.
I'll go off for 20 minutes on this, but essentially, the programming for so I big fan of the NHL franchise, right? I don't know why I give EA my money, but I do. I'm an idiot like that. I'm a simp. But I go out and buy NHL, whatever year it is. The way that they program the goalie to make a save is a random number generator. And if the number they draw matches whatever parameter, the puck goes in. Otherwise, the goalie saves it.
Yep.
Now, Drex, how would the goalie know where to put his glove? Because, you have manual shot aim, right?
Yep.
You have manual shot aim.
They have auto aim to
they
block.
have auto, I'm just going to put my glove here and
Yep.
save the puck.
Of course they do. Because here's the thing, though. As it's happening, here's what no one wants to admit. Once again, as it's happening, as you're getting more and more frustrated, more and more enraged, deep down, you crave that. Because if the game were fair, let's face it, if the game is fair, the player would win every time, right? It would get easy.
Yeah, and actually that's another thing too. So they have adaptive difficulty on them too. And adaptive difficulty just means make everyone on your team complete retards and make everyone on the other team complete all-stars.
Of course.
So when you go through franchise mode, I've actually, it's on this channel. I think I've live streamed franchise mode. I made you as the custom player, right? And and you go on score 50 goals in one season in your rookie year. Congratulations, Drex. Well done.
Yep.
But
of course,
you'll notice if you go on like a 10-game winning streak or something, suddenly the next game just gets ridiculously difficult. Right?
Yeah, it's not gradual.
You can't get anything by the goalie.
Nope.
All of your teammates are just like, I'll just give the puck away. And then your goalie is like Andrew Raycroft. Cress would get that reference, but she's not here.
Hockey guys, of course you would. Damn Canadians.
Yeah. But anyways, Cress would tell you the exact same thing about MLB The Show. Right? If you go on, like you're trying to do franchise mode or story mode with a hitter, and you start hitting pitchers too often, they will just input read and put the ball around you.
Well, here's the thing about that, though. In games where the CPU is doing this, the only thing more satisfying than playing a game one versus CPU is when you have more than one person, right? Like, let's say you're playing something like Gears of War or Halo. That's why it's much more gratifying when you win, right? Because you know the game is cheating. The game is designed to cheat, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like, as you progress through the game, you become more and more satisfied with your progress because you know it's cheating. Oh, yeah, enemies that become bullet sponges when you raise difficulty. AI is still dumb. They just take more bullets. Yeah, and your guy takes less bullets. Like, that's one of the prime examples of cheesiness in games, right? Let me get this straight. I emptied a whole clip, right? And the dude, they just ran through him, barely did damage, right? They hit me twice and I'm dead. Like, come on, man.
Oh, man. I get adaptive. So Phantom Pain did this. Drex says the enemies got harder. It was because their armor got better.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, I need a different gun. I need a gun that can go through that armor. I need to use impact weapons, gas-based weapons, right? Oh, now they're starting to wear gas masks. Okay. Yep. Now I need that. They got a cool weapon in Phantom Pain. It's a acoustic shotgun. And all it does is it's just an air blast of a shell. So it's useless more than 2 feet in front of you, but it sends people flying. But it works on heavy armor because it works against the armor, right?
Yep. Well, and of course the things that are going to completely rip through armor, right? When you start using anything that was like a rocket, any kind of grenades. Of course, now it's loud, right? So you alert everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh well, yeah, I got through the armor, but damn, like, the
grenades.
cheese and the Call of Duty were great.
Oh, yeah, Drex, if you played any of the campaign modes in Call of Duty on their higher difficulties, you would, and they had the auto-save, the checkpoint system, right? Yep. So you die, and you respawn at the checkpoint, and, like, within 2 seconds, 6 grenades land at your feet.
Oh, yeah.
And so Call of Duty, right, you could throw the grenade back, right? You pick it up, throw it back.
Yep.
But not 6 of them. By the time you get through the fucking animation, right, of throwing a grenade back, and then you go and pick up the other one. Up.
Yeah, the new one. Well, I mean, this has been going on since. I remember I didn't play the game, but I saw the people play it. When GoldenEye came out, right, on N64, they would put proximity mines on your respawn points, right?
Yeah.
So you would respawn, dead. You're like...
Oh, we could do a whole separate show about player versus player cheesing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Such as spawn camping.
Spawn camping, yep, that was a thing. I mean, dude, like I said, GoldenEye was the first game I remember that happening. Oh, yeah, catch 'em. Oh, my God.
Oh, yes, let's talk about this one.
The catch-up mechanic. So...
Grand Theft Auto has this. So Grand Theft Auto Online has what's called a slipstream. So you get too far behind the leader, the leader's car will slow down, and a little white line of slipstream will come out, and that's everyone behind that leader will catch up. Your bike or your car is faster than the guy in front. Yep. I understand the mechanic they're going for, right? NASCAR, that's drafting, right? Mm-hmm. But as a game mechanic, I don't want NASCAR drafting as a game mechanic. Come on, guys.
Well, of course not. Well, the beauty of that, though, is when you have those kind of mechanics, right? The player starts to adapt. So like in Mario Kart, especially in the later ones, you start realizing you don't want to be way out in front. What you want is to be close to the leader, right? Like third-ish, close to the leader, and yet you just need to make a play within like that last 1 or 2 turns, and that's how you win. Because if you get too far out in front, like I said, you get hit with a lightning bolt about to go off a jump, up, you're done. Like weird things started happening, right? The blue shells and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember playing Mario Kart in N64, and I remember being like, is it just me or is my guy going like real slow if I'm the leader, right? And of course, if you were way behind, God forbid you're 8th, right? And that's how you get like the golden mushroom or something, or the star. You're like, is it just me or am I going like a lot faster than everybody else right now? Like the catch-up mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It's like, of course, it was an auto handicap, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I think it's kind of lame, but at the same time, like you said, you understand its function, right? So that the game can be more competitively balanced. There's these little things that I think just really lend themselves to having like the more fun experience. Obviously, Mario Party has nothing but the entire game is cheese. Koopa. Yeah, oh man, chance. At least that's just chance. But cheese in of itself, and I do believe this, that the cheesiest games are always more fun when you have that couch co-op experience, because gauging those reactions to the person to your left, to right, center, behind you, that just has a certain level of fulfillment that like you can't really mimic. So when you get these guys, and like I said, when Koopa sent that video of a guy on the last turn. Okay, so there was a guy in the comment section, you guys. He put the probability. The odds are basically like winning the lottery. So on the last turn, last player, the only thing Luigi can roll is a 10 in order to do it. This is the last turn, so he doesn't get another shot. He hits the 10, lands on chance time, and you're thinking to yourself, there's just no way. The guy who's in last place, and when I say he's losing bad. He had 30 coins and 0 stars, and they had to be like a 30 to probably a 50 turn game, and he swaps stars and coins with the dude in front, who had 11 stars and 29 coins. To hear these guys react to this is legendary, because you're like, look, man, I gotta go. That's an HMT. I don't care what it was. That's an HMT.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah. Mario Party was, dude. The things that happen in Mario Party they're so mind-boggling that like it's like I said, that's part of the allure of the game, is like these ludicrous things that happen, that like the frustration, it kind of goes all around, because at some point you're going to be the guy getting hosed, right? Yeah. Like I said, and kind of like in kart racers, you can be the best kart racing guy in the world. At some point you're just going to get hosed. You hit a banana peel at the exact time that you went around a corner, and then a red shell hit you right as you're about to accelerate again, and then something else happened. Like just weird stuff all at once. It hits the spot. Spy Hunter had that with the oil slicks and stuff, and God, what a great time.
Oh, I see Phil jumped into the chat.
Oh,
shall we get Phil on?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and open up the lines, man.
Eddie, oh God. Would you consider cheese in a game that has like 30 computer opponents? They all go after you.
Oh yeah. That's well, that's been a thing in games forever.
Racing games,
racing
right?
games.
Destruction Derby was so bad for that one.
Actually, do you know what? When it came to best last levels, that showed unmitigated cheese. For all of you guys out there who can remember a game on PS1 called Driver, right? If you guys don't know about this, go on YouTube after this and just type in Driver President's Run. It's the last level. This is no lie, man. We had the God mode and we're still losing. How do you lose with God mode, right? You know how you lose? You lose because the unmarked cars ram your guy so hard that your car flips, right? And once you get flipped over, since you can't drive now, right? You're just sitting upside down. After a certain amount of time, the game just registers, oh, you can't, get out of this. So it just defaults back to, all right, do you want to retry? And my cousin told me he was in a electronics boutique. Shout out to EB Games back before, way back when it was called Electronics Boutique. My cousin told me he was in an EB. He looked in the strategy guide. He's like, dude, there's got to be a way to pass this. Do you know what it said in the strategy guide? Good luck.
Good luck.
It didn't give you like, oh yeah, go on this route or try. It literally just said good luck. Driver, y'all. President's Run.
End game levels. You just reminded me of something. I'll get Phil in here, but you reminded me of an end game level. There's this really obscure soccer game for the NES, and I think it was one of the first ones to actually feature real teams. So they would, it was the World Cup. So they'd have, the team from Germany, the team from, I don't think they had a team from the US. They definitely didn't have one from Canada because back then we were not a soccer country. Oh, sorry, Phil, football.
Football.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had this before your country was discovered, yeah?
Yeah. No, it was football wasn't invented until 1999. But anyways, so you go through tournament mode, right? And it's elimination style, right? So you pick a team and then you eliminate the other teams. You get to the championship and you win the champion. Well, at the very end of the game, some brute just like tosses a cleat at your head, knocks you out, and steals the trophy. And now you have to play him and his team. It's like a street gang in order to get your trophy back. And it was literally called Team Nintendo, or NIN for short. Drex, these guys had boosters on them. So, especially with sports games, right? You have a boost mechanic, right?
Yep.
These guys had perma boosters. They'd never get tired. So, obviously, if you boost your player too often, he gets tired, and then you can't boost for the rest of the game. Well, the Nintendo guys never got tired.
Of course not. Look, that's one of the cheapest, most frustrating things in games. And Phil, this is only the CPU can do this. The CPU, long before we had crazy woke feminazis, we had the most glorious thing that this world has ever seen, which is rule for thee, not for me CPU, right? Because Phil, how many times did you play a game and it was physically impossible to do things the computer was doing, right? It didn't matter. You were the best on earth. Phil, do you remember when Street Fighter 2 first came out and the computer could do things
back
that a
in the
human
day, you could be playing a game and then you realized after a while, am I playing Steve Austin here, the $6 million man who's bionic in every way?
Every way. Phil, every guy who played old school fighting games, right? Street Fighter was the first one to do this because in Street Fighter, the computer could do things that, like I said, it's physically impossible. So you had characters, any character in Street Fighter, you had to charge back on the controller and then hit forward, right, to do a move with a button. So that was, Guile throwing a sonic boom, M. Bison doing a Psycho Crusher, or doing his foot stomp, right? But Phil, something bizarre happened to everybody who ever played Street Fighter at the arcade. Do you remember what that was? They were playing and they went, wait a minute. I saw Guile shoot a sonic boom. As he did it, I jumped, right? How was he able to flash kick without ever crouching down, right? That's impossible. But the computer can do
it's like a 9-button push that you have to get perfectly to do.
It's impossible. Bill, the way the computer would cheat people at the arcade, here's the thing. Do you know what I think is one of the things that's from a bygone era, Phil? Is the enjoyment that it was almost like a sadistic, it was like this masochistic pleasure that you got, right? The person that it's happening to looks around, right? You gotta see this shit. Like, he looks around he wants people to see what's happening, right? And then the people who are watching him in the arcade are like, yeah, we know that's some BS, right? Because it was so ludicrous what was happening. And yet, Phil, do you remember what you did right after you died? What'd you do?
You put another quarter in.
You put more quarters in.
Drex, I missed
that was the
arcade.
First of 10 that you had.
It was like you couldn't. Like,
Mom, I need another quarter.
You had this instinctual urge because you know what it was. I think it was though, Phil. I think that there was a psychologist consulted for this even way back when, and what they realized is people have a compulsion, right, for justice, right? Because you feel that the game has wronged you. You see what I'm saying? Something wrong happened in the universe.
I'm going back to the time when I was about 8 years old at the time, and I was at a holiday park, and they had the old Tron style amusement arcades, and there was this guy. I mean, he would have been 15, 16. He was playing Space Harrier. This will tell you how long ago this was. Right?
Sega, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was playing this, and he was just rolling these 10 pence pieces into because these were the coins that we put in there at the time. Now, if you look back, now I know 10 pence back then was worth a lot more than it is now, but the point was he was probably putting maybe £2, maybe £3 in. This is not what a businessman wants. So somebody at some point was just saying people just want to play this just for the sake of the game. So we're going to allow you to just, although you've lost all of your lives, do you just want to put another coin in and carry on? Because this is what I saw people doing. And rather than just taking 10 pence from somebody, you took, like 10, 20 of those 10 pences. Or whether it's dimes or whatever it is in the US, I don't know. But you're not talking huge amounts of money. Because, these things sucked up like electricity and stuff like that. So they weren't like a money-making machine as such. But when you wanted to see kids just like locked into something, if you wanted to indoctrinate them, like as a leftist or a socialist, this would have been the way to do it. Because those kids were locked into those games when I was a kid.
Well, the beauty of this, though, Phil, is, okay, part of what makes you frustrated, right, is devotion, right? Your devotion is what makes you frustrated. Because watch this. Hey, Phil, try this game. Pick it up. Oh, that's stupid. That was lame. And you put it down, right? You didn't really get frustrated. You just, something didn't go your way. You're just like, I'm just not interested, right? In order to get frustrated, don't you have to be engaged, right? You have to have that fire in your eye. Like, so you're doing this. You see this? And what happens, Phil? You pick the controller right back up.
Yeah, like in the modern phraseology would be for all that they might be kids, they'll say, "Da fuck?" Just happened.
Like, you're emotionally invested into it.
Yeah. You need that because, Phil, I always tell this story because it was the first time in my life. I had visited my friend in Chicago. Shout out to her, by the way, Miss A.N., good friend of mine, right? And I'll never forget this. It was my, look, Tack literally said it like as I'm thinking it. I flew into Chicago after a buddy of mine from work told me about the Galloping Ghost, right? The arcade. It's the biggest arcade in the U.S. $20, Phil, right? You pay $20. All of the arcade cabinets are set to free play, right? Phil, do you know what that does to you? I want you to imagine, what do you think that does to your psyche? Like 900 arcade games.
It's like
I think I would lose interest, to be honest.
Oh, Phil, no.
Because when I had that like roll of coins in my pocket and I knew it's only worth so much, I was invested so much more in that one game that I was playing at the time. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's just free for all at any time, I might start to think, well, maybe tomorrow.
Well, you still got to pay the $20.
Yeah. You pay the entry fee, right? So what ends up happening, Phil, is that like the itch came back, right?
Well, the point is, if you paid your $20, right, and you got free for all, but somebody's on that game, and they're going to be on that for 20 minutes, and you can't play that game, you're going to start to get a bit frustrated.
No, Phil. The sheer volume of games that are going to break your... I like to see spirits broken, right? Like, I've always been sadistic in this way. Like think about it. You know what, Tim, is this not why people, especially kids, they love rage quit videos, right? Why do people like watching Cuphead? They want the rage quit.
In this position, right? Yep. Just thinking, say I'm talking Space Harrier again, and the guy's playing the Space Harrier game. Okay, well, I'll come back later. Now, I've done this before. I've kind of gone a bit backwards and played some of the old classic games. I don't know if you ever remember Crystal Castles from Atari.
Yep.
Like, that was a great game to play because you had, like, the rollerball to play with it, which was different to the whole joystick game.
Yeah. So it was basically like, okay, you started seeing this on, what are those golf games? I think it's called, like, Golden Tee. Do you remember those games? They have the same roller ball, right? Yeah. It came later on. But, yeah, that's the game that originated that whole, the little roller. Is that a fan?
It was just so much more fun.
Oh. Yeah, Phil, here's the thing, though. The beauty of this, right, is that when I went to the Galloping Ghost, I always remember this moment in my life because it's very unique. It is the first time, and I had to been, so I'm 39 now. This must have been about 2000, maybe 17. So you're talking about a guy who's like, early mid 30s, right? Phil, this was the first time in my life as a lifelong gamer that I saw what it's like to be a game. Like I saw what a gamer looked like to the outside. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody that you knew played games, right? So we can all relate to the same things, right? Phil, I was playing Burger Time of all games, right? You remember Burger Time?
Yes. I mean, have you prepared yourself for the time when you're not going to get it?
Oh, God. So Phil, the things that were there, right? They had Rostan, they had Super Smash TV, they had all these games. Somehow I wound up on Burger Time, right? and I'm playing. And as you know, Phil, Burger Time is notoriously cheap, right? How did the pickle catch me? How did the hot dog get me? What do you mean I couldn't see the fact that, Phil, you would pepper spray a guy, right? Because this is how cheap Burger Time was. The more you pepper spray, the less effective it was. The further you progress in the game, the less effective your pepper spray was, right? So the game had an incline difficulty, right? Phil, I'm raging at the game.
It's kind of an implied idea, though, that you kind of understand what's going on.
Yep.
Now, when you have an arcade game, you simply walk up to the box, you put your money in the machine, and you play the game. There's no instructions or anything.
None.
Like that.
Oh, God, no.
I mean, I remember my uncle. I mean, I was only, like 8 or 9 years old at the time. And he put some money into Kung Fu Master. And there was about 16 different bandits who came and beat the shit out of him. He didn't have a clue what was going on.
No clue. No, you were given there was no instruction manual. And this is the thing, though, Phil. You were beaten savagely, right? The computer had no, because remember, the computer is set to have a difficulty, right? So it doesn't know if you're good or bad. Games now, they account for your skill set, right? So if you don't play a game,
they assume that you are shit when you first
start. Yeah, so when you first start, that's why. So then the difficulty starts to scale a bit, oh, this guy's actually good, and the computer adjusts, right? They have the AI. Back then, if it was just set to easy, it was easy for everyone. If it's set to difficult, it's difficult to everyone. But when I saw the look on her face when she's looking at me raging at this game, right? Just raging. I never lose my cool like this, man. But when Burger Time has a way of getting under your skin that few games can, because unbelievable stuff happened in those old games, right? Cheap deaths, stuff that didn't even make sense, broken physics, right? Glitches.
If it gets you straight away, then that's fine. But it's when you know about the game and you go, yeah, I'm cool with the game. It's going to test me. And about 3 levels in, all of a sudden you're starting to swear at the screen and stuff like that.
Phil, that is the masochistic glory of games, right? And she looks at me, Phil, with a straight face. I'm raging at the game, going, "Did you see this?" So I'm looking over her. She does. She probably played 2 games her whole life, right? Maybe Candy Crush. She's one of those girls, right? I'm raging at the game, then looking at her, telling her how the game is cheating me, right? And I will never forget these words. She's like, "Why don't you just play something else?" I'm like, "No!" So I started screaming at the game again. She goes, "Wait, so but you like this? Like you're enjoying yourself.
This is my game. I have to beat this.
I have to." Phil, she said these words to me. This was the first time in my life that I saw, oh, so this is what other people see when they see gamers raging. And they're like, why does someone want to do something that causes them so much anger, frustration? And Phil, I kid you not, I had never had that thought before. Because you remember the days, all right, we're at Phil's house. Phil's playing. Tim's waiting to play. I'm waiting to play. So, Phil, we are egging you on, right? We're sitting there. We're your cheerleaders, right? You remember those days where if you play a one-player game with your buddies, you're playing, but they're watching, right?
Well, as a general rule, but of course there could be times where you'd pissed your friend off and he's going, "I'm going to start telling him to do the wrong."
Oh yeah, those are the best. Yeah. No. That's where the extra guy is, right? You just jump in that pit. Are you sure? Yeah. You're the controller, and all of these things, man.
Drex, you remember changing? You remember changing controllers?
You look at your friend, you just go, Mike Foxtrot.
Oh god.
Yeah, someone's getting a golf club at the end of the day. No, Drex, you remember? So when you did trade controllers on every death.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had the rule.
And then you took 2 steps and died. That one didn't count.
That one didn't count. No, dude. Yeah, pass controller, man. Pass controller, man. Like, do you know who fought about this the most? Was brothers, right? Because see, with your friend, there was always like this kind of like, well, that is the rule. But because you're siblings. It was so much easier to fight a sibling, right? Because you're so used to fighting. Yeah. And that rule, the whole pass controller on the death, there were certain games. This is no lie, Phil. The glee that you took in seeing people die was it was unmatched, right? Like when people talk about how sex is so great, is sex really as good as seeing your buddy die in Ninja Gaiden?
I mean, absolutely. Like everyone could laugh like the Emperor himself.
Oh, you could.
Or your
oh my god.
Died.
I feel because what you were seeing in Ninja Gaiden was another one of those games where you had hit stun, right? You jump, got hit, and then you're like, goes backwards, and this is what made those games special. Phil, why is there always a pit to fall into? You tell me. How's that possible, right? Like you're going through the level.
Something out of Cthulhu, isn't it?
I mean, like, Phil, nothing hit you, right? The moment you jump, a bat just appears because why not, right?
Just out of nowhere.
Literally out of nowhere. And you go
shit.
back and you fell and you just get that look, Phil, of like.
It's like mathematically,
the bats in the
chances
first
of statistically something like that happening? Yet it happens 9 times out of 10.
Oh God.
the fucking bats in Crash Bandicoot 1.
Yeah.
So when you got hit, especially if you had that mask, the Ooga Booga mask, right?
Yep.
If you got hit, you not only would get like launched backwards, but you'd also jump in the air.
Yep.
Right? It was like a bounce mechanic.
Was there something else that you ever had though when playing games? Because you had like a gang of people that would come and forth, like when we had like a gaming evening, and there would be one guy that was pretty close.
Well, here's the thing, though,
like
Phil.
how good
I think
you
that
were, right. But my point is though, when we were talking about like the mulligans that you're talking about,
Yep.
like I had this with Sega Rally at the time, the guy, and he was pretty good. He was as good as me at playing this game. And something just happened. He fucked up or something like that. That's like, well, okay, so let's just stop it. We'll start the game again because that's just a false win if I do that. Did you ever have a friend like that? Or did you just take glee in the fact that you beat him?
Bill, I love. I don't think you understand. I truly get. I'm talking pleasure out of seeing people's misery. There's a divine energy because
clip that out of context and send it to Ken.
well, Phil, here's the thing. There are things that you can see. I'm saying, Phil, if let's say you're having a bad day, right? Let's say you got out of court. They were just running their mouth again. You're just kind of like, I don't think anything can really cheer me up because that was some BS. Just look at a Cuphead rage quit video, Phil. When you see the things that, like Phil, I've actually seen the guys, they literally put the controller down. Have you ever seen someone's lips start quivering? Because the game has broken this, like,
they almost try to reason with you because they go like, and then they just fuck off.
Phil, you see them start to break, right? Like, Phil, that's what I live for. I like seeing people's spirits break. Like, because, Phil, you gotta understand.
Sadist.
Phil, here's the thing, though. When you see the eye twitch, right? Phil, do you remember you'd be playing a game and so Tim and I talked about earlier, when you die and you don't have so much as like a real reaction, you just go like this. You don't say nothing, right? Like you just.
I mean,
I used to say really.
Yeah, but that's exactly like you were so you were like dejected, like you were just so like.
I wouldn't talk to anyone. I'd literally look at this TV screen and go.
Yeah, really? Phil, I would sit and look at the screen like this.
But again, everyone's different. The one which I liked, because it was only a few people that would do this who I would play games with, and they would literally launch the controller across.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And fuck this.
That was me.
See, I never was the rage. Like, I was never the rager who like did like physical damage. I had a foster brother who, he was hilarious because like he's not even a guy that you would expect would play games, right? The thug type dude, right? Okay. He's like the stoner thug dude, right? Phil, do you know what his game of choice was that he just could not stop playing? He was literally addicted.
Oh, don't tell me it was a dance game or something.
No, it was Mario Kart 64. And
well, everyone loves that.
But here's the thing, though. When you hear a thug just going off on DK or Wario or Yoshi or something, because he only played, it was Toad, right? He only played as Toad. And hearing him... So he's talking to the characters like they're real people, right? So he starts screaming at the game. He's cursing at the TV, Phil. DK, you bitch! So he's just going off.
Now can you see what's going to happen in the future, though, when we have true AI and then the computer starts reacting to your bad language?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
It's going to be so funny.
Could you imagine, Phil? Is the AI taunting you back, right? As you're popping off? And the AI is talking back to you.
Don't give me that shit, motherfucker. Just because you're shit at the game,
you
will really lose you.
So, Phil, you know the concept of like consent dolls, right?
Yeah.
So take that and put it into the game.
They could take
HMTs
so
would
further.
go way up.
That's the thing. The aneurysms would go way up. Like even in teenagers.
Yes.
like hospitalizations and stuff like that. Because I mean, like, I
the
see
game
young
is
kids
like
these days, and they're losing their shit big time, and you can see the temples like pulsating and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's that meme,
mean,
right?
like,
That one
we-
kid with the vein bulging on his
Well,
temple.
I remember getting really upset over it and stuff like that, like as a kid, but like not to the point where I think I could possibly like break my own health down. But I've seen some of like the Zoomers these days playing games. It's like, dude, calm the fuck down. This is supposed to be fun.
No, Phil. The sadistic, masochistic pleasures that come from games. I'm telling you.
Now,
Phil, you have to play Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Like, it's so... Okay, I'm going to be honest
How
with you.
can it possibly be better than the original? Ghosts and Goblins was amazing.
Well, here's the thing about Ghosts and Goblins, right? Is that Ghosts and Goblins was brutally challenging, right? However, for all of its brutal challenge, there was a weird bit of fairness to it, right? Even though it was, because if you memorize the patterns, blah, 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 right? No, Phil. This new one, I'm not joking. They put Arthur's armor and feet in cement. Your guy, I'm saying, Phil, this is literally how fast he moves. And you know what's crazy? Koopa Goblins, you say. Well, and Phil, the enemies are all fast, right? It doesn't matter what enemy it is. So all the enemies are fast. I have never seen a game where the protagonist runs this slow.
Playing Doom on like Emperor level kind of idea.
Yeah. You know the best part is when you play games like Doom. Do you remember though, Phil, in Doom? You remember the brown guys, right? The brown guys who shot the big ball of fire out of their mouth.
Oh yeah. They were everywhere, weren't they?
They had perfect aim, right? Perfect. You're like, wait a minute, there's no way. Right, you be playing Doom and you got hit from the right.
You're
like
the sideways moving man to just get out of the way.
Just get out of the way. You're like, how did they have perfect aim? Right? I mean, Palpatine should have hired them as stormtroopers, man. But yeah, we'll go ahead and open the lines up. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Go ahead, man. Let's open it up.
All right. Let's see who we got in here. Let's go. Oh, Invader Tax in first.
All right, Tack.
Hello.
Tack, what is up? We got frustrating moments in games. Tell me, what has killed you, man?
Ooh, that's a tough one. One of those moments got to be the rubber band AI in Mario Kart. It's like you're doing great, you're in first, you're about to cross the finish line. All of a sudden, blow show up the tailpipe.
Yeah.
And then
the rubber
everything
band
else comes
AI
at you, and it's just like...
Where did it start, though? I mean, like, like a lot of people have like a first game and stuff, but it might have just been like a fun game.
I don't remember rubber band AI coming before Mario Kart, though.
Well, yeah, but that was the first game which you really took sadistic pleasure in watching other people fail at.
Oh,
Snake Eater.
Battletoads is up there. I mean, Phil, to this. So, do you know that this was crazy? Lady Rackets used to make Nick and I play Battletoads just so she could laugh as we died. So she would like she would sit there and like she'd be like doing whatever, right? She goes, oh. You would see Phil. Ask Nick about this.
Okay.
She would get excited and be like, play Battletoads, and she would just be cackling as Nick and I were dying.
Well, at the risk of like bringing this back to sort of female nature, this really appeals to women though, because they can actually like almost elicit a reaction from a guy, which is what women do just on a day-to-day basis, right?
Oh yeah,
they pull a man's strings to get men to do what they want them to do.
Well, women love rage quit. Like, if you think guys like rage quit, remember we like rage quit videos because we can actually relate to it, right? Like that's the reason why a guy can watch someone. I can watch Tack have a meltdown in Cuphead, and I'm laughing because we can relate to it.
That could actually happen. I do have Cuphead on PC.
It's
you reminded me of something from ancient YouTube before Susan. Ooh. There was a fan game called I Wanna Be the Guy.
Oh yeah, you can die by an apple at the beginning.
Yeah, that flew up.
Oh god. Phil, have you ever heard of this game? I Want to Be the Guy.
Oh man.
You know, at the risk I would say, is it before my time? But like I'm before all of your time. I was playing games before you guys.
Well, this was like early YouTube, so like 2006, 2007.
Yeah, it was early days.
Has anyone played games on a 48 kilobyte computer?
Ugh, that just sounds like...
I was playing Way of the Exploding Fist on the Sinclair Spectrum back in the day.
Well, you gotta remember the Spectrum was British only, so most Americans are like, huh?
Yeah, you guys were Commodore, weren't you?
Well, Phil, there were things, Tech, I don't know if you've ever remembered some of the games where the computer, now we were talking about fighting games earlier, but can you recall a game where only the CPU could do something that was, it literally, not only, it didn't just break the like a rule of the game, it like broke the game. If any of you guys ever played RC Pro-Am, right? Only the gray car could do this, right? Phil, at random times, you can't make this up, at a random time during the race, right? You would hear this sound effect. It goes, it's like a big turbocharge, right? The gray car could turbocharge. And I'm not joking, 5 times faster than the rest of the cars. No lie. Any of you guys in the chat who ever played RC Pro-Am on regular Nintendo, it made the sound effect. So Phil, the only way you could bypass this is right as he was about to do it, you had to be able to like shoot a missile out or hit it with an oil slick. But if he made that sound effect, Phil, it shows you the track, right? Like you can see the track, like the legend. And here's all the other cars, right? This is you. Go slowly around the track. This is a little gray dot on the track. You're like, well,
I can imagine it's not the same thing because I'm not talking about a computer game, but it reminds me of times when we went. Oh God, what do you call it? Where you're shooting like these paint pellets at one another. And this siren would just go off. Yeah, paintball. Yeah, that's the one. And the siren would just go off, and everyone would just dive for cover, because this guy came out in like a metallic suit, and he was like the Terminator, and he just had automatic fire on everyone.
Wow!
And that's like the CPU going into like
it is
goblin mode.
It's the broken CPU, right? Like everyone's like, oh shit, there he is. Like let me ask you this though, Tack. When it comes to the most frustrating things in games, who has been your favorite, most frustrating fodder enemy?
I haven't really played much of it, but I know they're the infamous Medusa heads.
So, Phil,
that's another game with hit stun.
Hit stun, Castlevania.
You get hit, right? Get knocked back, right into a pit.
Right, Phil. The entire game you hit into a pit, right? So Phil. Once again, the Castlevania game. Simon, Trevor, doesn't matter who you are. If you're a Belmont, you are walking slow. Your character speed is slow, right? When you jump, you're a brick. Your guy jumps like this.
Yep.
Right? Now, Phil, this is the Medusa head. For a game that makes you jump like this, this is the Medusa head.
Like a figure 8 pattern?
It's doing a you're like, wait, what?
I know, but this is like high-flying computer games compared to what I was used to as a kid. Is anyone old enough to remember the arcade game Gauntlet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Warrior needs food badly. No jumping.
I've never seen such bravery.
Oh, my God. Wait, did you play Gauntlet Legends, Phil? That was the turn of the millennium. It was the 3D. It had like the pristine-looking graphics for the time.
I did not.
It was exactly the same. Exactly the same.
It would have seemed like a perversion to me, to be honest, because like I needed that sort of like Effed graphics.
Yep.
Just to go back into my
Phil, it was Phil. There's some of these games, man. Well, Gauntlet was fun because here's the thing: we got 4 guys, we got 4 tiles right here, right? What makes Gauntlet unique is that all of us were experiencing the same cheese simultaneously. Because Gauntlet was a 4-player game, like Turtles, like The Simpsons. There's something, Phil, do you think there's something special about playing a co-op game where all of you are getting cheesed by the CPU?
Especially going back to the Gauntlet days, because it was one of the first, right? And there was 4 of you. There was a lot of games where you could play 2-player games, but 4 players at the same time. This was, and you literally had to have like a fair bit of coin in your pocket because you're just going to be rolling these things in. You didn't want to stop playing. It was that good.
Oh, what are some other moments?
You just reminded me of one, Drex. There is for the PS1, and it was the first game of a franchise, and I can't fucking remember it, but it was a co-op shooter game. It was like you're like elite soldiers versus terrorists, right?
PS1?
Yeah, it was on PS1.
Well, could it have been
I would say it was like
it
might have been a progenitor of like Sniper Elite or something. But anyways, there is a level you and your co-op partner. Now there was also the AI co-op too, so that's a whole different genre. But if you and another player got dropped into the start of one level, you immediately came out under fire from a sniper. And enemy snipers in the game would knock off 75% of your health per hit.
So
And he had an automatic sniper too, so it was like bang, 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 and if you didn't react and go into cover, you immediately died as soon as you spawned into the level.
Wow.
Drex, imagine showing someone that.
Well, it's one of the most rewarding feelings. I sent Phil a special gift. I just sent, Tack would know because he's an Illinois boy. I sent Phil the actual game listing for the Galloping Ghost. Phil, can you see what game is on there when you get to the G section?
SOCOM. I think it was SOCOM.
SOCOM was PS2. SOCOM was PS2.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong then. No, I swear it was a PS1 game because I remember the shitty fucking.
It may have been. Then you might be thinking Siphon Filter.
No, I definitely was not thinking of Siphon Filter.
Well, I'm not sure.
Right, Phil, do you see the hilarity of those games?
Was there Spec Ops games on PS1?
Such a list.
Spec Ops. Yes, that's it. Spec Ops.
Spec Ops.
That was it. Spec Ops. The very first Spec Ops game. Yes, and it was the first game in the franchise. Or maybe not the very first. There might have been a prequel. I don't know.
We're going really far back here because I can see Defender here.
Oh, Phil.
1 kilobyte game. It was such a good game as well.
There's no trust me. There's like when they talk about best places to go. Yeah, Neo knows. They talk about best places to go to like visit and stuff. I promise you, man. I will put Galloping Ghost again. If you're a gamer, especially, I think that's a place that you have to visit before you die. Like it's one of those places. It's that
like
serious.
Gaming mecca.
Yeah, it's literally Phil. Here's the thing. It's no frills, right? Like you walk in, literally. It's like it has like that old arcade counter where there's like stuff in like a glass like window or whatever, right? You pay the guy at the front. You pay him your $20. He just marks your hand or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, man, go ahead. That's it, Phil.
Yeah.
Look at that list of games
for the whole day.
For the whole day, Phil. They're open to like 2 a.m. And dude, you go in there, Phil. I'm talking. You go in there bright and early. You get lost, man.
Oh, look at what we've got. Gauntlet 2.
Oh yeah.
Legacy.
Oh, you know what else is frustrating? Invisible enemies.
Yeah,
Remember Metroid Prime 1?
Yeah, Metroid Prime. Yeah, that was so
Invincible
lame.
Sentry drone to this Phazon mines.
Yeah.
And it was before you got the X-ray visor.
That's one of the things that games would do. They would introduce a character or a villain, right? They would introduce some kind of enemy, and you were getting bodied by the enemy until you got some form of a power up or an upgrade.
This one's case, there was a way around it. If you had the Wave Buster, it would home in on the thing and just correct. It. But again, it was before you got the. It was still before you got the X-ray visor, so.
Oh.
If you didn't know about the Wave Buster, you're pretty much dealing with an invisible sentry drone that can fly all around you and
that's the thing that
you, and there's nothing you can do because you can't see it, you can't aim.
Well,
the invisible elites in Halo. Now that also brings me to something else because the invisible elites in Halo also had the energy sword, right, which is a one-hit kill on high difficulty and higher. Drex, a lot of games with campaign or story modes has a moment where an enemy rushes you from a blind corner. Yep. Wasn't that the cheesiest death?
Yeah, So what you just described has always been in games. In Resident Evil, the first time you encountered that was the Hunter, right? For everybody who played Resident Evil when it first came out in 90, I believe it was 95, 96, you got hit and you couldn't believe that you died in one hit, right? You got decapitated. You're like, wait, what? You're like, what do you mean? I died in one hit? Like it was so like. And here's the thing though, it instilled fear. Modern games don't really instill fear. There was a fear when you heard that thud that the hunters made, right?
Well, that reminds me another frustrating thing when a game had 0 continues.
Oh well, yeah, that's one of those beauties. Phil remembers those days, right? Phil, when you died, right? Like you felt the weight of that final death, right? Your final life.
There wasn't a case of just continue later. That just didn't exist back in the day.
Nope, there were games that go like finite amount of lives, no continues, game over, back to the beginning.
Now, Tack, if you could beat one of those games, everyone in the arcade would watch you do it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right, because you had the almost male autism, right? Of okay, I'm gonna memorize every pattern here, and I'm gonna get to the end, beat the final boss, right? Throw my hands up, and then like you've got this crowd of people watching you at the arcade. Because Drex, when someone was actually dominating the cabinet, everyone else noticed.
Yeah, I can recall there were certain games that I remember when Time Crisis was brand new. And the game was frustrating because, of course, you had the cheap deaths, right? Like, you had the guys who would shoot, like, the little red missile, one hit. So, and the game cost back then, it was 3 tokens, which is more expensive than the rest of the games.
Oh, yeah.
And when you would play that game, most people just didn't have the money to get that far. So, every now and then, you'd be in an arcade. You had the person who had the skill and the bank to be able to make it through, to the later part of the game. And people would just stop what they were doing. I can recall people, like I said, they were like, they'd be playing the game, and they would just kind of give you that glance, like, wait, what is he? I've never seen that part of the game. And you just see people kind of like gradually kind of, gather around someone playing. That happens with Dance Revolution even, where people saw somebody getting some crazy score.
Oh, and I've seen some guys do some crazy moves.
Crazy stuff. And people just kind of look like, damn, look at that.
Like one guy, like you see like guys go to the two-player mode solo. And they're just jumping back and forth between both dance pads.
That's God tier.
If somebody does something like physically impressive for like a dance move or something like that, or they do something, like as I was used to seeing stuff as a kid, like on Space Harrier, some guy did some crazy shit on screen. Everyone crowded around, and you were fighting to just be able to see the screen, to see what was going on, that kind of thing. And this is what I don't think they did it very well, but in the original film of Tron, that's what they were trying to get, this idea with Bridges himself actually playing the Tron game and everyone was crowding around it. I don't think they articulated that very well. But that was what happened when I was a kid.
Tron was a good movie, though.
Tack, before we let you get out of here, we'll ask you this. What is your most frustrating final boss in a game?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one to nail down. Ooh, that's a tough one to nail down. Maybe.
Is it a woman?
Yeah, getting a date. Damn. Drex, would you rather play Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection with one hand tied behind your back, or try to date in a modern world?
Oh, I'll still play Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. It's actually fair. Phil, that's how bad it is.
Well, it has a risk of actual fun, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, and Phil, and less money spent, right?
Yeah. But even though if we took that back to the old days, and you'd spent like $5-6 like in dimes or whatever it is that you guys throw into the arcade machines, like you'd still be like think it was money well spent because I enjoyed my time.
Yeah, you had fun.
Yeah.
When you think about it, arcade games were pay to win. They were like an early form of pay to win.
They were. The only game that was not pay to win were fighting games because the winner would always stay. So winner stays, loser pays is the fighting game rule. So if you were great, you could realistically spend 50 cents and be in an arcade all day if you were that good.
All right, well, Tack, think on it. If you send it on the chat on the stream there, and I'll highlight it. If you think
something from like a Mega Man game, like the final boss of the first Mega Man Zero game is one that comes to mind.
Oh God, our man Sigma.
Well, no, this wasn't Sigma. This was Mega Man Zero.
Oh, Zero. I was thinking of the Mega Man X. I was thinking of X.
These were the GBA. These were the GBA ones.
GBA one. Yep. God, Mega Man just had some cheap. Everything about Mega Man was cheap.
Yeah. All right, Tack.
Anyway,
anything you want to plug before you get out?
Don't really have anything.
All right.
I will say though, stay out of Cook County Jail.
Get that butt.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Fucking flies.
Later.
Peace out.
Yeah. All right, we got Whip next.
Whiplash, what is up?
Aw, shit. How y'all doing tonight, gents?
Well, you sound happy, which means you're not playing a game right now. Because if you were playing a game right now, you'd be frustrated. If you were frustrated, Whip, you'd be telling us what you're frustrated about.
If he was playing a game, you'd be like, "What?"
You know what? I am simultaneously frustrated and nostalgic as fuck right now.
Uh-oh.
All right, so I've got 2 honorable mentions here. All right. First and foremost, have you ever played The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess?
That's one of the few Zelda games I missed. That was a GameCube / Wii.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what was frustrating as fuck for me, because I was like 12, right? So when they made the Wii port of the game, which was a good port, by the way, and it's the only version I've ever actually physically played, the emulation mirrored the game. Like, it's completely mirrored. And so...
Should that be a good thing?
But by mirrored, do you actually mean laterally inverted or
That's
just
what I'm saying,
the same
like...
thing?
Yeah, no, like think if you had a TV and you put a mirror in front of it to watch.
So left is right,
image.
right is left.
Oh, oof.
It's mirrored, right? Now, I didn't know that when I played it. So whenever I got stuck, I got completely fucked on, because I'd go to YouTube for like a walkthrough, and this shit's fucking mirrored.
That's just not good, sir.
I mean, that would mess
Now,
with a lot of people.
Here's the greatest part, right? So, like, that was back when puzzles were actually puzzling, no pun intended, right? And the darkness of those games could completely fuck you.
Yeah.
Like you could not see shit, and your lantern was your only way around it. And if you didn't know when to conserve, oh, God help you. You just couldn't
Link goes
see
left-handed,
shit.
most people are right-handed.
So that's my first honorable mention. Then my next honorable mention is Mega Man Zero, which is it's tied for second and third favorite Mega Man, because it's a spinoff of the X series, which is my second favorite. My first is Battle Network, because that was my original introduction to Mega Man in the first place. But anyways, near the end of Mega Man Zero 1, there's this little platforming section, because of course, it's Mega Man.
Yep.
And what do you remember about the way enemy spawns worked in the old X series, Drexel?
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. You had repeat chips.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and you remember how, like, whenever you'd go, like, past something on screen, right, like, whenever that happened, you would literally, like, respawn the enemy if you went backward, right?
Yep.
Well, there's basically, like, this zigzag of platforming that goes upward until you're eventually, like, ending off going right. And so there's this really, really hard jump. And if you fuck it up, you have to start basically from scratch.
Yep.
And every time I'd get to that level, it was like 15 to 20 runs of fucking up that one jump and then having to kill all the enemies again.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Because if you don't kill them, they're going to hit you.
Yep.
Like, it's gonna happen.
Well, here's the thing, though. So the way this works, and this is yet another frustrating thing about games. So in games like Mega Man, enemies could shoot, and yet just because you went because the screen is scrolling with you, right? But if you were like this, Phil, this is your screen, right? If you walk out of that box and now it scrolls with you, if an enemy shot from back here, right, and you went over, the bullet still hit you. But if you shoot, your bullet ends wherever the screen ends.
That's the way it should
be. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's another cheap thing they only put in those old school games that were just.
I mean, it comes back to the days when I played on the PC, Hidden and Dangerous, which were meant to be a 4-man SAS team going into Nazi Europe. And I mean, like you could. There were times you were using your sniper scope and you're peering through the fog and you can just make out that Nazi helmet. and you take them out. Great. But they could still do the same to you. That was
Yep.
the thing. And so where did that fucking bullet come from?
Out of
They
nowhere,
didn't tell
right?
you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was before. That's before you had the reticles, like because so now when you get hit, you usually have some kind of HUD, right? So you have a heads up display. Something is notifying you, usually where you're being hit from, right? So you're like, oh, I'm getting hit from my right side or something, right? But back then, like you said, you just got hit.
Yeah, but like, as an old school gamer, I suppose. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm as hardcore a gamer as like you guys, but these are basically cheats.
Oh, of course.
You've got like this radar going on where you can see where the enemies are, where to go. They're round the corner and stuff, and you can see all this. Back in the day, you didn't get shit.
Nothing. Well, they were savagely, and this kind of goes to what Whip is saying about Mega Man, is that the whole purpose of Mega Man was Mega Man games were designed to brutally test your memorization skills, right? Like because it was all repetition. No one there's not gonna be no one in the world, Phil, who just picks up a Mega Man game, especially one of the harder ones, and just plays right through, doesn't die, right? You're gonna die, right?
So,
especially if you're not gonna watch like a YouTube walkthrough to.
Yeah. You just hand someone a controller, like you're gonna die.
Well, I've never been a Mega Man. I've never really played the game. So, are we mixing up the whole idea of like a maze game? But then you've got like the 3D shoot 'em up of say, Doom or 3D Wolfenstein at the same time. So you're trying to memorize
so the best Mega Mans have always been 2D, and they gave you that old school challenge where, like I said, hit stun is one of the things that separates Mega Man from other games of its ilk, because as you got enemies coming from every direction, Mega Man's hit stun is like, it's iconic, right? Because he goes like this, and he has like little sparks all around him, right? And Mega Man being hit in hit stun, Phil, you were in hit stun for a limited period of time, right? However, if you were in the air, you stayed in hit stun. So if you jumped and got hit, Phil, you don't come out of hit stun. You just stay in hit stun until you touch like, another platform, right? So usually you can get hit. You're like, so Mega Man goes like this. And then something else hits you. And then at which point you just die. And you're like, wait, what? That was it. That was your life.
Dude,
old school
health in Mega Man games is always pretty scarce. Because it's basically, think if you had a platformer that was like, it has elements of Metroidvania in it, right? But it's interspersed with enemies throughout of all sorts of different kinds. That's Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mega Man X to a T.
But did Mega Man have this massive sort of fun thing going on, which made you play it again?
Oh yeah, Mega Man was always fun, and Mega Man is known for having the great music, right?
I mean, I'm not trying to catch anyone out, but
okay. Phil, have you ever played Metroid?
I have not, to be honest. I'm an old man when it comes to gaming.
Fair enough. Okay, Metroid is like, think Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
But you're always sent to some planet, right? Because something's popped off in the galaxy, and you, the bounty hunter Samus, have to figure out what's going on. And throughout the whole game, you're getting power-ups, you're backtracking, doing this and that. You're puzzle solving your way.
Well, there's usually like a lot of story behind like a lot of games, but what is the actual mechanism of the game? I mean, is it 2D, 3D?
2D scroller.
Yeah, 2D action platformer.
Yeah, exactly.
So very similar to Mega Man in that way, but obviously the story is different.
Good.
Yeah, the basic premise
is quite like a Star Wars story, if you like, all of the preamble and stuff.
Right,
totally
the story elements of Metroid are, what if you have this thriller horror masterpiece centered around bounty hunters and space marines, whereas Mega Man is like, what if we could make like true robots that are genuinely lifelike, and what would happen then? Like,
we'd probably end up marrying them.
Well, as guys who've played what I would call the next generation of games then, because I kind of grew up on games where you played against the computer, and that was pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Every now and then you could play a 2-player game. They kind of grew up. And then, as I was talking earlier, we had the 4-player games like Gauntlet and stuff like this at the arcade. And then we started doing sort of like 8-player games where everyone came over and brought over PCs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now, is there a generation of games or a family of games that grew organically out of multiplayer games? Because everyone seems to have all of this thing like, you give each other shit when you have like a bad game and stuff like that, like through the audio and stuff. This never used to happen when I was a kid. But how important actually is this in gaming these days?
It's a good question.
I think certain games that came about naturally in terms of you, like I said, Gears of War. Like basically the way the games are now is that like if you design a game with co-op in mind, right? Like it's built from the ground with co-op, you're going to get that experience. Sometimes they just kind of add it on, whether it be like multiplayer online or whatever.
Yeah, like multiplayer in something like, say, Sonic Mania, where like it's kind of an afterthought because all there really is to that is you have 2 people trying to speed run a level, and whoever gets it done the fastest gets the better score and wins. Versus like TMNT Shredder's Revenge, where like that thing is top to bottom meant for like 4 to 6 players.
Yep.
Well, this is kind of where I'm getting to, because you're pinpointing particular games which you find very, very fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember Grand Theft Auto kind of coming out, and everyone playing that. Like a guy I was sharing an apartment with at the time, he got it. It was about a year after it had come out, but we're playing the game. And so this is about just like 4 different games rolled into one. That's all it is. There's nothing groundbreaking about this game. I mean, unless you want to go out and murder some prostitutes, that's about the only groundbreaking thing with it. Now,
that's what Phil did.
Of course, yeah, of course.
After I paid for some services, of course, but
hit her with a bat, get his money back.
In terms of like what made the games fun, because a game which I've mentioned a few times is Sega Rally, which I would say is not graphically one of the best games out there, even at the time when it was released. There were more astoundingly graphically, shall we say, driving games out there. Like there was a Formula One game, which was very pretty. It was as dull as dishwater compared to Sega Rally. Sega Rally was just fun.
Yeah.
So you had a friend that came up and you both played Sega Rally. You didn't play the Formula One game. You played yourself against the computer for Formula One to just try and get better. Now, that's what I'm trying to get at from what I would call like version 2 of the computer gamers. What is it that just brings you back to what would normally you would call a dull game, but it's just so much fun you won't let it go?
Minecraft. For me,
I
anyways.
suppose probably.
Yeah. For me, anyways. It's peaceful, but Drex, what about you?
Well, the games that I always tend to go back to are the games that, like I said, it depends. Like obviously, like a 1-player game is different from a co-op game. But like one thing that I've noticed is that like some games, like I'll give you an example. I can play Enter the Gungeon at any point because it's a one of those dungeon-like games, right? And it changes every time you play. So like the rooms randomly change every single time you play, right? And it's just one of those games that you can just pick up and play because it's a bullet hell, right? You got bullets coming from every which direction. The VR doll integration business.
I've been talking to a guy who's very heavily into modeling. He started off with dolls, but he's just been modeling, dare I say, females in a 3D VR section anyway. And I've been saying to him, so look, I'll give you some money, but what I want you to do is do a virtual reality of every Jin-san doll out there. So people can pick the skin color, they can pick the eye color, the hair, and then they can walk around the doll, maybe slap the ass a bit and see how that works and stuff like that.
That's
and
a great way to test it all.
That would work really well, I think, for a lot of people who've never really seen a doll before. Because at the minute, in the UK, people have got to travel sort of like 200 miles to come and see me to actually see a doll. Whereas if they could see it online and think, well, either or nay, do I go and see Phil and actually see it in the real life, or is it not worth it? So the VR thing, I think, is a big thing, and it's. I'm just waiting for everyone to step into this and actually do a big thing with VR, and nobody seems to be doing it yet, and I don't know why.
Hey Drex, isn't it cute that Phil thinks 200 miles is a long way away?
Well, Phil's talking about dolls. I gotta get Whip out of here with this question. Whip, we can't discuss most frustrating things in games without talking about something that has been the bane of many men's existence.
Oh shit!
Useless AI buddies. What is your thought on that? We'll get you out of here.
Don't fucking get me started on that shit.
You killed me, Drex.
Useless AI buddies. Dude, you know the worst part about it is like 90% of every game that has that shit is like, it's a fucking plague. You know why? Because they always design the game around genuinely needing the AI buddies, right?
Yep.
But they are fucking worthless.
Yep.
Utter dog water.
Yeah.
Fuck, that
because it can't be done solo, right? Like so Phil, they'll give you a task. They'll put you in a part of the game where if it's just you stand 0% chance of winning, right? So you have to rely on your AI buddy. However, Knights of the Old Republic, so you wind up getting an AI buddy who is, because Phil, it's a one. This is what kills you. It's a one-player game, but the AI buddy, you're like, if I could just have this one section of the game where I can have my AI buddy be controlled by a living person. Oh yeah, walking Ashley around at RE4.
Oh, I remember Ashley.
But see the thing, Ashley wasn't useless because you commanded her to like, all right, just go high. Now you were clear of her.
Yeah.
So that made it easier.
She's a good one.
She's actually a good companion. But Phil, there were some games.
Those sorts of things before, like even like I mean, this is in the inception of like character AI. Hidden and Dangerous, you'll get the three guys and say, right, I want you to go down there, use your Uzis, and just take out as many people as possible. And you can see them just bumping into like walls, like bump.
Drex.
Like, Jesus Christ.
There's escort missions in Skyrim. Sometimes the AI would glitch onto some random junk and get stuck.
Oh no!
And so you just see them like running on the spot, right?
Yeah. It would sort of happen in The Last of Us, even though Ellie actually was a solid companion, because like when Ellie was around, the only thing that Ellie could really do that could hurt you was that like she would be in your way when you're trying to do something, right? Like you just want Ellie like can you just like go over there so I can get, kill stuff? This stupid camera's killing me.
Oh, so you mean just actually be a woman?
Oh yeah.
By the way,
it was so brutal.
I've only got about 40 minutes
to ask you right after I give you this. This is the last thing I wanted to mention because I forgot to earlier. Okay, so have you ever played Sonic Advance?
No.
Okay, so the most frustrating boss fight I've ever played was the final boss on the moon level for Sonic Advance. Because it was Dr. Eggman, but he had like 3 or 4 phases to his boss fight.
Of course.
Each one tougher than the last. And looking
that was a
back,
beautiful thing.
It's actually like brilliant game design and a great fucking boss fight. But when you're like a little kid and you've never played it before, it's so hard to get those patterns down so that you are not getting fucked on completely.
Of course. Well, here's the thing. There are people out there who don't understand. And Phil, you remember these days, right? Final bosses always had multiple forms, right? You got to the boss. When you kill the boss, he doesn't just die, right? He goes like this, and transforms. Like, really? He transformed? His life bar refills, right, Phil? Does your bar refill?
It was either that or there was 4 of them just suddenly appeared, and you're like,
yeah. Oh, here we go.
But you were allowed to get away with it if the second phase had kick-ass music.
Yeah, you usually the stakes they up the ante. They had the music. I love those kind of final bosses. There were games that had mid bosses that were even harder than the actual bosses, which was always comical.
I've always found the penultimate, right, the second last boss is usually more frustrating.
Yep.
Because the final boss
those
is like
Lionels in
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, like there's some
had this
bosses that
in-
you like.
Nitrous
I had it in
Brio in
Sega.
Crash Bandicoot.
Fighting Vipers on Sega.
Oh my god! I almost forgot the game
That was
existed.
sexy anyway, because you could like kick off your armor, which when the girls did that, they were like fighting in like underwear and stuff. It
Of
was
course.
great. And it had such a good metal fucking
Yeah, the
theme going with
music.
it.
Well, you know, though, music I think is one of the things that we talk about frustration, but like music is. Let's face it, Phil. Is that reason why you kind of kept coming back? Because if let's say you had like droning music, right? If you got frustrated with a game and the music sucked, you'd be like, I'm turning this off. But when the music engages you, you keep going. And there were certain games. There's gonna be somebody who's gonna watch this episode and they're gonna think to themselves, I want to suffer the way Drex says I need to suffer. Like, what is a level that I can go on that has the music that gets me amped up but gets me tense? There is a game and a level that everyone needs to play. It's
well, if
Kick
you
Chameleon
think about
Bloody
it,
Swamp.
If the music is building you up all the time and making you feel that you're actually getting on with the game, and the game is beating your ass so hard, you've got a conflict, and that's what brings you back.
Oh, always. Whip, any final words?
Oh, just shout out to games that have like an actually good soundtrack. Just everything is fun. Like
Fun is the most important thing.
I miss games where fun was put first.
Yep. Well, I think fun and frustration are literally flip sides of the same coin, because if a game is all fun, but like I said, there's no frustration at all. Like, I mean, like we talk about Mario Party. One of the things that makes Mario Party legendary is the frustration of getting hosed, but at the same time, you're having a lot of fun because the game is just naturally built to be fun. But
Well, yes,
Right.
but you must have the fun first before the frustration.
yeah.
Just
The fun
frustration
has to come first. Yeah. You can never have the frustration for, like, a lot of games. Have learned that throughout time. I think where most games are fun up front. Like, I mean, Cuphead. When you start playing, like, oh yeah, this is I'm engaged. The animation, the music, and then it starts hitting you. You're like, wait a minute. It just starts. You start to feel that sting of difficulty. But who do we got next, Tim?
I'll get Whip out of here. Thanks, Whip, as always.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
sir.
on, or having me on. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
Indeed, sir.
Hey, Phil, Drexel's cousin just jumped in.
Aw,
So,
shit.
is there any last words you want to provide to us?
No, I'm good. Just have fun playing games and keep going.
Awesome. Thanks for dropping in, Phil. We gotta do
No
a show
problem.
sometime.
Speak soon.
Definitely. Oh man, Phil. The
All right, let's get your cousin in here.
Oh snap! Our main man, my guy,
You
my
are
number
muted.
one.
There you are.
He's now unmuted. Yeah, we can hear
now
you
we
loud
got
and clear, man. Hey, you know what? We're hearing you the same way you heard Wrath of the Ninja with that damn beatbox, the little boom box
Start
at the
that.
end.
Don't start that bullshit, man. I just got on the call. Don't start that bullshit early.
You know what? I think we need some Kingdom Hearts in our lives. Let's get Lex in.
And this is the beauty of some of these games, though, is so my man Black, we talk about these games that frustrate us, right? And like when I had mentioned hard levels like Bloody Swamp and Kid Chameleon. For those of you guys who don't know what Bloody Swamp is, Kid Chameleon, which is a ludicrously hard game to begin with, the level starts. Here's you're Kid Chameleon. There is a wall of spikes twisting gears that kills you in a one-hit kill, right? And it just tracks with you. So the gear is trying to catch up with you, right? And they put every obstacle you can imagine, right? Like, hey, Tim, let's have steps that go like this, diagonal down, but they're bouncy steps. So your guy goes, brrr. So now the thing is just able to catch up with you, right? One-hit kill. When you play levels like this, you have there's this exhilaration to it, and I think that it's the reason why, like, it's why games that are frustrating because they're good games matter more than games that suck. Like, Rise of the Robots looked good and was terrible, whereas so you were frustrated with the fact that, like, you were deceived. You play a game like Celeste, it has that aesthetic, and you're like, uh-oh, and you just knew it was going to be hard, and it doesn't disappoint because you got frustrated. Now, Lex, let me ask you this, and then I'll ask my man Black Rain. What do you think about the fact that you're playing a game, Lex, and the enemies are hard up front. Like, some games have like the easy enemies and the game progressively gets harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about games that they're hard? Like you turn it on, it's hard. You're like, wait, what?
And then like at the end, it becomes like a super easy cakewalk. Like it's not even a challenge anymore at the end
Yep.
of the game. I kind of don't like them because it takes away from the game. It doesn't give it a lot of longevity. Because I like games where you start off kind of easy or like enough of a challenge. Like if you never played the game before, where you can, you might die a few times, but you soon learn the mechanics, and you start getting harder and harder enemies, makes the game longer and more longevity and a lot more replayability. So those kinds of games I don't really like. I mean, I'll still play them if they're worth it, but I can't think of any of like the top of my head where it's like that, because I know I have played plenty of games like that. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
There's here's the thing about that I've learned about games over the years is that there were some games that were so hard, and this kind of goes with what Phil and I were talking about, that the challenge superseded the fun. And Black Rain remembers a game that a lot of people have forgotten to time. Ninja Gaiden arcade game. Not the NES version, which was also hard, but the arcade game where you played and you kind of would look in disbelief, like playing Vigilante, where the hit stun killed you, but you got hit 2 times with a knife. So your guy went, you're like, wait, but I couldn't move. So it might as well just be a one-hit kill, right? And these were the games that I just think that, like, they had that level that, like I said, it caused you to put in an extra 50 cents, right, over and over. And Lex, let me ask you this. What do you think about the arcade games that were literally just money pits?
Well, I never played arcade games. That was before my time. I grew up
You
console
missed out.
gaming only, and then like in my teenage years when I learned online games. So I never experienced the arcades.
You missed a glorious time.
I've heard.
Yes, he did.
I was like, there was this anime that Miss Lex showed me that it's basically like arcade games, like kids playing arcade games, and like there's a story to it. It's good, and I see like the fun they had. I thought, oh wow, that must have been fun, like being able to just be at the mall for hours playing a quarter a game, And I learned that you had to put like the quarter on to show your a place in line. So like your quarter would be the third from the game. You'd be the third person to play. And so it's like, okay, I learned these kinds of things that I never experienced because, I'm only 24. So that was way before my time.
Yeah. There's a cultural shift once arcades were a thing of the past. But I mean, one of the things is that there's a certain level of integrity that existed back then, because like I said, when you put your coin down, you didn't just put it down. So let's say there's coins up, and let's say you're coin number 5, and you put your coin down. You go, hey, who's in front of me? And then a guy will be like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm the guy in front of you. And then now when I see this guy play, I need to walk up, to the machine, right? So you were sitting back, watching, and then like once you saw that dude come up, you're like, okay, now I know I'm ready. And then someone, you told whoever was behind you. The integrity that existed, like I said, a lot of these kids don't know this because they grew up in an era where online gaming, you can just berate people and say whatever because there's no consequence.
Exactly.
But we were in an era where, like I said, you couldn't just say stuff because Black. What do you have to say about the fact that like guys could come to blows if the frustration got to be out of control?
Oh yeah, that was just the norm, man. To see a brawl in the arcade.
Yep.
I mean, don't be disrespectful and jump quarters.
Hey, don't do that. Nope. Oh yeah. Hey, Black. What about guys who got frustrated because someone started taunting?
Oh,
don't do it.
Yeah. Don't be over that man's shoulder.
Yeah. Showboating.
Do the moves, right? Don't tell him somebody how to do the move. A la Street Fighter, man. You doing the Dragon Punch wrong. You hitting the sequence wrong. Like, hey man, you better get the hell out. Get the hell away from me, man. You could feel their breath, and they'd be in your ear. You're like, hey man, you better back up off me, man, for real. Like, bro, like there was so much. And, let me ask you this though, Black. What do you think about the difference between then and now in terms of competitive gaming? I mean, I think today is just, obviously it's blown up into this, just this huge money market now for when it used to be more of a kind of prideful thing from a competitive standpoint of, hey, we're gonna beat this game, and it turned into this rallying cry, or whatever, within the community of beating the game.
Yep.
It wasn't about the money, so to speak, when you're talking about doing that. So I think the difference between then and now is, back then it was really more, hey man, I beat this game, homie. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna prove it. All right, we go to the arcade.
The proof. The proof. Yeah. Prove you can beat Revolution X. No, I beat it. I'm gonna show you.
Yep.
Now,
So-
Lex. I was gonna ask Lex this question. Lex, when it comes to some of these games, though, let me ask you this: what do you think about games that can frustrate you to the point of quitting? But then, what do you think is it that about those same games that force you to quit? That whether it be rage quit, but it's something about the game that makes you pick up the controller and then restart. What do you think about that?
It's like this hit of dopamine. Like I've experienced it where like I've played this game, like fuck this game. I turn the shit off. I don't play it for like a couple days or whatever. But then like I get this like creeping itch that like I feel in the back of my neck. It's like like ooh. You ever seen like the Dave Chappelle skit? Tyrone Biggins like you got more.
Tyrone Biggins. I did not crack.
And he's like I feel like that, and so I get back in there. And when I was younger, like I just played games. I didn't understand like the concept. Okay, I have to learn the movements of the boss. I need to know when this happens. I need to move back. And when you actually learn like the boss movements or the enemy movements and like how to navigate them, and you finally defeat a difficult boss, it's like the greatest euphoria you'll ever feel. Like as a kid, that was the greatest accomplishment. There was this one boss I got. Of course, I'm gonna bring Kingdom Hearts to Demix. That if you play Kingdom Hearts and you hear the words "dance, water, dance," you'll understand the PTSD that boss fight gave you, especially like as a 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid. I was stuck on that boss for like I shit you not like 3 months, every day just trying to fight it, trying to beat it. And once I finally beat that boss, I almost like cried of happiness because the sheer joy I felt of beating a boss that I had spent so many hours in trying to beat. It was just an experience that I still remember to this day.
I like that. Now, let me ask you this, Black. This is something that people don't understand who didn't grow up in an era. What do you think about this question? A person gets so frustrated for you while they're watching that they demand the controller to this so that they can beat it. What do you think about that?
Sounds like our childhood.
You would see it like I'm talking. You would literally see a dude start like get him to shit like this, like oh, like you would see somebody start getting animated because they see you dying in Sonic Spinball and they demand the controller, right?
Yep.
And then some fuckery would happen, and you like look back at him like, oh, I thought you could beat it, man. Shut up, man. Give me one more try. It's just so beautiful. It's just beautiful.
I know it, man. Get games that piss off other people that's not even playing it. As you know how difficult the game really is.
No,
right then,
Black, I got to ask you.
Ridiculous.
I want to ask you this. What do you think about, as a father, witnessing your sons play frustrating games?
Oh, I punished them the other day. I took them to the arcade.
Oh, you did them dirty like that?
I took them to the video game museum, homie. I took them over here, gave them a stack of tokens.
Oh.
I was like, hey, we're going to go over here.
You put them on that Metal Slug?
Hey, we went straight on Metal Slug.
Metal Slug, baby. Wait, Lex, have you ever played Metal Slug?
Metal Slug. I think so. Let me look it up real quick. Metal Slug.
Oh, no, man, you got to.
I have. I've seen the game, and I played like a Flash version of it. Online, but I never played the actual arcade game. But
you gotta play the real version. Hey, like I mean, that was the first time you had bullet hell because you know what? Black knows this. We were playing. One of the things that separates those old games that was also frustrating is that you had slowdown due to so much stuff being on the screen. So you're trying to shoot, and it's like because now bullets are coming, and you had to wait for like the game to catch up. And
the lag, slow moving projectiles, all this stuff going on. You go through the mummy stage. It's this you're not even paying attention, and here comes a slow moving projectile, or you go, mummy breathes gas on you, you mummified, and all you can do is you have the pea shooter in your hand, and you get nailed. You're like, dude, what is this?
Yeah, losing power ups in a game like Contra. I don't know, Lex. Did you ever play games like Contra?
Death sentence.
No, that was. I mean, I have played Contra and I've played Contra games like that, like recently, but I've never grew up on them. I grew up more on like action adventure, 3D, like third person, first person shooters. And I mean, and I play a lot of more like action games. Like so when I was a kid, it was more like action adventure, like platforming, collectible kind of games. And then when I was in my teenage years, it was more like first person shooter, first person shooter. And now as an adult, I've been playing a mixture of everything, and like I'm more into new kinds of things because like I've even tried getting into racing games. Not my cup of tea, but I still want to try it. I don't like sports games at all, though. I can't stand them. I was
never a sports games guy. I've always I would play a sport before I would play a sports game. That was just me. But I think Tim said we have someone that wants to hop in.
Oh, what?
Tim, it says someone's harassing you for attention.
Oh, no. It's offline. Like, I've only got about 20 minutes before I got to...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but now, here's the thing, though. I want to ask... I'll ask Black this question first. Black, what is something that you want... What is a frustrating element in games that you... From the games that we play growing up, that you want to see return?
Oh, let's see. I mean, obviously, respawning enemies were like a trademark for games that we played, which is ridiculous. Platforming, just go through the lines of games that required you to make insane jumps that had to be perfectly timed.
Pixel perfect, literally.
Yeah.
Hey, for those of you who don't know, I'll give you guys an example of something that's stupid. Castlevania 2, in the graveyard. You are at this level. The platform is at this level. You will die every time just trying to jump. You have to jump and hit your whip, and this is no lie, glitch onto the block.
Yep.
It is an impossible jump. You have to. Your guy goes like this, and he goes. He just glitches up on it. So I want to see people who do speed runs because I want to know if you get that wrong on a speed run, don't you just die? You just keep repeating it. It is pixel perfect, and it's like you see these kind of things. And Black, you and I played in an era where when you died, you died. There was no infinite life. You died.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I mean, no coming back. Hey, I got this checkpoint. I can do whatever. No, man, that's it. Like, that's it. So you just get ready to have a mental breakdown and then go pick the controller back up later and come back and start all over again. Because that's all you could do.
Well, I want to ask Lex this question. Lex, what are some of the most frustrating games that you've heard from guys like in my age group when they talk about, maybe you've heard of games like Bionic Commando, things like that, where people play them and you can literally see their eyes start twitching from the frustration.
So like games I've heard, like, I've heard people talk about like Ghosts and Goblins is a hard game.
Yep.
Battletoads.
Yep.
TMNT. What other games I've heard? No, Super Ghosts and Goblins. God.
Hey, Black has an uncle that's actually a curse word in his house. He doesn't allow that game to be mentioned. Like was it Harry Potter? Voldemort's like he who will not be named. He doesn't allow the actual name Ghosts and Goblins to be mentioned.
I'm laughing too because that's universal pain. You hear what this man said?
I don't share that pain.
I never
experienced it.
No, Lex, you have to play the new one. Like, here's the thing: the only way that you can experience this is to play the new one. Because if you play the new one, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrections, you're gonna get the same emotional sensation that we got when we played Ghosts and Goblins back in like '87. Where Lex, we got to get your live reaction. We want to know, especially here's the thing: Miss Lex is going to enjoy this. I know that she's probably seen you get. Lex, let me ask you this. What does your girl, Miss Lex, think about you when she sees you playing a game that you are ludicrously frustrated in?
Like, why are you getting angry? It's not. It makes no sense. It's just a game. You
they
don't get it.
It's just a game.
They just don't get it.
Get it.
They just don't get it. No, Drex, I actually have a theory about this. So,
What is that?
because you think about women love it when men fight over them, right? But it's not always about them. It's the passion. Drex, if you show passion as a man, it turns women on.
Yep.
And I think that's what they see during video games. That's why that's why Lady Rackets laughs at Nick. Oh, she's got to have so much fun watching him play Elden Ring.
But want to know?
Yeah,
funny?
she loves it.
You want to hear something funny though? When we were during the pandemic, we've talked about it before. When we were playing Minecraft and she would die, she would get frustrated. She's like, "What? Well, why did I die from the creeper? This is not fair. All my stuff that I was mining for hours." Like,
Oh,
she got mad. In that one moment, she understood my.
Wait,
pain.
hold on. Please tell me you trolled her. Like, why you get so frustrated, baby? It's just a game. Did you troll her?
Yeah, I did. I
Oh, God, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Drex, if you do the idea we had about the AI earlier,
Dude, if AI start, oh my dude, if an AI starts taunting you, like,
why are you getting so angry? It's just a game.
Well, Black knows they actually did this in Ghosts and Goblins. Ghosts and Goblins actually did this in its own way. You beat the game, and Black remembers this. If you were one of the patient, skilled souls to beat Ghosts and Goblins, you thought you accomplished dude, this is like a life-altering accomplishment, right? And you get to the end boss and you beat him, which literally took you, I mean, let's be honest, because you didn't beat it as a kid, years. And then the game sends you back to level 1. The first quest was an illusion. You have to replay the entire Ghosts and Goblins. Do you know what that does to your psyche? In fact, nothing matches angry video game nerd's reaction. Because he goes, I did it! And he goes like this.
Yep.
Tim, you have to watch it. Look, just look.
I'll watch it.
Tim, he has a look of like, because the look he gives is what happens because everyone beats it and they go, I did it. Like, you can start seeing people almost start crying because like it took their soul away, right? And they're like, and they smile, they're like this. Wait,
part of them
and
died in that
the
game.
text comes on. You're like, wait, it is an illusion. I gotta repeat the wait. What? And then Tim, without warning, after the message pops on, it goes like this: level 1 graveyard with the Ghosts and Goblins. You just
R
you can see like
watch people die inside.
you see like because the person can't like it's like their brain is trying to reconcile what just happened. They're like that's not fair. That can't happen. It just can't. Let me ask you this though, Black, from a kid's perspective. What games have your kids watched you play that made them shocked that like this is my dad playing this unbelievably hard game that I can't even play or beat?
Oh yeah, that's easy. My most recent one was, I'll say most recent, but when they all came and watched me play Hollow Knight, and you know, dude, this, and if you hadn't played the game, obviously, you'll be begging for Pure Vessel, the so-called, which is not the final boss. Not to throw out a whole lot of spoilers on that for those who hadn't played it, but if you've heard of Absolute Radiance, then you know the meaning of Rage Quit, right? Because this is one of the most insane final bosses. We talk about final forms and all that. Look, you beat Radiance, and you get up, you're like, yes, it's over. No, it's not. And you're like, wait a minute. What is Absolute Radiance? What is this? When they tell you as a guy to please get your first 2 hits in, like when they tell you that as a precursor, because that's probably all you're gonna get for a while, because the whole time you're playing defense, and your opening is so small. I'm like, dude, this is send me back down to the other part, man. Well, I had to just go send me back to Pure Vessel.
Wait, there's a game that someone just mentioned that I've heard being mentioned a lot. The Lion King on Super Nintendo. I've heard that game was ludicrously difficult.
Yes, it is.
I missed it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, dude.
Yes, it is.
I've been hearing this like this was on a Watch Mojo video. They have like hardest games, and I remember they brought up the Lion King. I was like, because like, you know, I wasn't a Disney guy like that. I watched that movie when it came out because everyone did. But like, if you had a Disney game, I was gonna be like, oh my god, I gotta go play that game. So I remember when it came out, but like I remember people saying it was a good game. I don't remember people saying it was a hard game. So I learned years later, people said, no, man, the Lion King on Super Nintendo. I was like, it was that hard? Like, really?
I actually I rented that game because I had a Sega when I was really young. I remember renting that game from a video store, and I couldn't beat Scar. I got all the way to the end to the Scar fight, and I couldn't quite beat him before the rental time was up.
Of course.
You know,
Rental times, man. Do you remember what that felt like? Is because you were on a clock back then, like that. You know, and that's why you were grinding, right? Like, Tim, you got a game back then when you rented that game. The moment you got home, you played and you did not stop because you knew I have X amount of days at this game back to the rental store. So it was all day, right?
So, and in a small town, you might get away with this, but do you remember? So some early games, you would save them. They actually saved into the cartridge.
Yep.
So do you remember, Drex, you return a game to the video store, and then your mom's like, okay, get your homework done, and then this weekend I'll rent you a game. You went back and got the same game, and your save file was still there.
Yeah.
Do you remember that feeling?
It was rare, though, because there was...
Very rare. In a small town, it was more common.
Yeah, because if someone saw that save file was there, they kind of knew, like, hey, man, someone like went through the whole game. I'll just leave that there because I can always start a new file, right? But yeah. Only a jackass would sit there and be like, I'm just going to delete it because I'm a jerk. But yeah, it kind of goes back to, like I said, it goes back to that that integrity thing, because I think that in a small town, you might figure out who that was, right? Because you'll be like this, like, yeah, man, because someone's going to let it slip, right? I overwrit someone's game, right? If you find out someone overwrit your game, bro, it might come to blows.
Well, I kind of accepted it because some cartridges in the early days could only have one save file.
A lot of them had three.
Yeah,
a lot
had three, but some had only one. Especially a lot of ported games from Japan. So the one I remember, which is a hell of a grinding game, was Digimon World for the PS1. That's one hell of a grinder of a game. You couldn't do it in one night. You couldn't do it in 2 nights. Right?
Yeah, well, I love those.
But
games
it only had one slot.
Oh, that's savage. Well, because, I mean, here's the thing. Some of the games I remember that were the best at being frustrating, they were brutally difficult, they were long, but there weren't any saves. And when you're continuing using lives right now, you die. Like Kid Chameleon is one of the games that just fits that to a T. And we'll get you out of here, everybody. So, Lex, any last words about frustrating games, and I'll get to Black.
I'll say this. I think the worst thing is like when you had a long cutscene before the boss fight and the boss hard as hell and you die and you have to rewatch the cutscene over and over.
Unskippable cutscenes. I forgot about that.
Right, everyone,
Unskippable cutscenes.
On 3, we all groan. 1, 2, 3.
There's nothing like it because you were just like, really.
It's like the 12th time I've seen this fucking cutscene.
The same cutscene. Like, dude, let me just skip the cutscene, please.
Now, to some games' credit, they would let you skip the cutscene if it detected you had already beat the game before. Like if you had they call it New Game Plus when you speedrun, right?
Yep.
I had
There's a lot of games that didn't even have it.
The PS2, the original Kingdom Hearts, you could not skip any cutscene. So I fought that Riku boss battle so many times with the Maleficent one. I wanted to fucking kill myself.
Oh.
And the remake.
Oh yeah, like when the boss does like the little intro.
Yep, yeah, they get an intro cutscene, and then because all bosses have a second or third form, you get to watch another cutscene as they metamorphosis into something else.
You know the number of times Nick's had to watch the Millennia transformation.
Dude, like that is kind of like its own thing when you watch something. You're like, really? Because Beautiful Joe, you had to fight all of the bosses for the unskippable buttons, unskippable scenes.
You would hit the button even if you knew you couldn't skip it.
You couldn't skip. Yeah, you just got.
Yeah.
We'll get you out of here with this. What is your thing? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Lex, you got a lot of wind coming in. Can you just mute for a second?
I moved it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Black, the same question for you that I gave to Lex.
Man, I mean, like what he's talked about, just stuff about games that are memorable, that stuff that sticks with you and, really in a good way or a bad way, pisses you off. So like you said, the scenes, that was brutal, right? Having to go through that. Some of the stuff that we talked about of getting punished, like games that punish you for good gameplay still, where they're just unfair. You're just like, dude, I did everything I could, and I still got my ass whooped. You know, it's
Yep.
what do you do? You know, then it takes some luck glitch or whatever for you to actually get by it, and then you're just like, man, I'm done. Hey, take that shit out. You know, I'm done.
You know, a lot of people don't even understand the power of that, Tim. The look of, hey, take this shit out, man. Like, you just because to be like just totally dejected. Like I've always said this. I like seeing people's soul die because when people say the term soul crushing, that's what they're referring to. They're referring to a game that it will beat you down psychologically so bad that like someone's like, no, but Tim, I still think that is the quintessential frustration. A game gives you unlimited lives, right? It beats your spirit down. So even though you have unlimited, you can keep playing, right? You don't have to start at the beginning. What does it say about a game that it can make you rage quit? It makes you do it. You're just like, I don't want to play, man. I'm done.
Well, I was telling you about that soccer game from the NES, right? So I never actually beat that. Now remember, I was 6 years old when the NES was mainstream console.
Yep.
I never did beat that game. Drex, I lost a tooth because of that game. I've told you the story before, right? I put the fucking NES cord in my mouth and bit the cord, and I ripped one of my baby teeth out.
Ooh. I mean, that's what we love to hear, though, man.
Yeah. Brain, have you ever thrown a game in the garbage?
Absolutely.
Which one?
Absolutely. I've trashed the game before. The game with the fools coming on earlier. Wrath of the Black Ninjas in the trash.
Yeah.
I tossed that. What's the name of the other game that I've thrown in the trash?
You better not say that Silver Surfer.
Glover. I've thrown Glover in the trash.
Oh,
Yep,
N64.
So 64.
My grandma owned an N64. That's I know the game.
Glover.
I played it for like
literally-
20 minutes, and I was like, no, I'll go play something else.
Yeah, I literally took it out and I pitched it right in the trash. I just yanked it out in mid-game. I didn't turn off.
You didn't turn off the power?
I just yanked it out.
Oh.
Threw it in the trash. Like, don't ever make any more shit like this again.
Yeah, right. You call that 1-800 number they have on the back of the game case.
You're the one guy who actually calls the number. But yeah, we thank all of y'all for getting on. Look, man, we always love doing these kind of shows to reminisce about the good old days, the new days that are still good. Because I just think that the frustrating game is like part of the experience. Because like we said earlier, if a game is too easy, if you breeze through, you don't feel that oomph. It's something
right.
that you're missing.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Manic just jumped in, so I want to catch Manic before we head out. Lex, I'll see you off.
Peace.
Peace out, Lex.
Manic.
Hello.
What you doing pushing Drexel down? What are you up to? Shenanigans is that? Hey, Manic, we were just heading out, man, so really quickly we're talking about frustrating mechanics in video games.
Dude, I'm so glad I just, like, barely did not miss you.
What do you got?
Okay. What do I got? Okay. All right, specifically okay, this is what it is. All right. I've been looking at Sonic Origins recently, and it just pisses me off and how bad these ports are. Like and how constantly Sega messes up Sonic. Like, how do you mess up ports of 10-year-old remakes of 30-year-old games?
I saw Final Fantasy VIII I think it was Neo that someone told me about it. Where like they sort of made it look better, but it looks worse, and I was like, "What? This is terrible."
Well, was it Secret of Mana that just completely ruined the art style of the game by making it 3D? Yeah.
No.
It was a PS4 exclusive.
That's right. Manic's like 14 years old, so he doesn't know all these old games we refer to.
Well, I mean, I'm the one that brought up Secret of Mana. Okay, I'm aware that it exists. Okay.
All right, Manic, cheapest death in a video game. What's the most cheese death you've ever had?
That's I think I gotta say, being in Overwatch, like any sort of crowd control and it's like combined with Diva's Ultimate.
Okay, so you're talking an online game, right?
Yeah.
So other human players.
Yeah. That like doesn't need to be strictly single player.
No. It's just everyone's been kind of mostly reminiscing about the single player games. I mean, we could do a whole separate show about the BS in online games.
Yeah.
Worst online moments.
Fucking the no scopes in Call of Duty 4.
For real.
Because Drex, it was all random number generator. Right?
Oh, what?
All random number. Just so here, I'll explain this really quick, Manic. Sorry to cut you off, but there was it was a bug. It was not intentional. In Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, one of the first ones that had the online multiplayer, if you put an ACOG scope on the starting sniper rifle in the game, it would one-shot kill you anywhere it hit on the body. Your leg, your foot, the arm, the head, whatever. One-shot kill. Only in that specific setup. Now, no scopes, obviously the way shooter games work, right, you have your reticule, and the bullet would randomly go anywhere in that space. Sniper rifles, obviously, if you hip-fired them, they had the biggest reticule. They had the highest distribution of the bullet, right? That thing would just go anywhere. But... yeah. There was a trick called the G shot, where if you strafed left, then strafed right, and then held still for 1/2 a second, and then fired, it narrowed the cone of the shot very tight to that of an assault rifle. So you would hit someone across the map, and of course, even if it just hit their arm or their shoulder, it was a one-shot kill. So there, you just die, and then it showed the kill cam of this guy hip firing a sniper rifle from across the map.
Nice.
The cheesiest death, because it was all random number generator.
Yeah, actually, that just reminded me, like sometimes in a 5 Nights at Freddy's security breach, this happened multiple times where I just fall through the floor, and then no clip.
Glitches.
Oh yeah,
glitches and bugs. We could do a whole.
Glitches are guard, dude. That's. You ever notice though, glitches in a like a good game are always what hurts, because like if it's a bad game, you would have stopped playing a long time ago, right? If a game sucks, you turn it off like, oh well. But like in a good game, the glitch hurts more. It's more pronounced because you've gotten further. You're more invested because the game is good. Then it has a shitty glitch.
All right, hey Manic, plug the warband real quick there so I can. I'm getting.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right, so you can find me at Manic the Manic Mechanic on YouTube, and I am now on TikTok.
Oh, God damn it. We were just talking about that.
You gotta tick that.
For real. All right, yeah, so, I felt like, I need to pull some people out of TikTok. Yeah, I'm already getting hundreds of views on TikTok. This is the place to grow. I'm getting more views on TikTok than I am on YouTube, and I only posted 2 videos.
I mean, He is Manic is easily the youngest of all of us, Drex. So
yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
Well, it's the platform. It's the kids' platform, right?
It is. It really is.
Oh, hold on, and used up old thoughts though, because they're also they're just as prevalent.
By the way, Drex, I heard a 10-year-old kid use the term thirst trap the other day.
No.
I overheard that and I was like, what the Drex, you're sitting, you sitting on transit like a bus or a train or a plane or whatever, right? And you just hear something that you're like, did I really just hear that?
Yeah,
you gotta turn around and look at it.
Yeah, you hit pause, like somehow you heard it through your headphones. You're like, wait, what?
I'm telling you, man, we are starting to get to these kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically just
and he used it correctly too. He used it in the correct context.
That makes it even worse. Because if they just use it, it's not so bad. But when they get it in context, it's like, oh.
He was making fun of it. It was like a Kardashian or whatever.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So I mean, like, I can't even be mad. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, Manic. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Also, I'll specifically plug the new warband member, the Gray Ghost.
Because, I just talked to him a while ago.
Nice.
with Ribby.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's chill. He helps me out with thumbnails because he's like the only one that knows good thumbnails other than me.
Hey, by the way, hang on. I'm going to pull everyone out of the video so you can see this, but Gray made our background for this channel.
Really?
Yeah, he made the pixel art for this. That was Gray, right? He does pixel art.
Yeah, he does pixel art.
Yeah, all right, hang on. I'm going to take everyone out so they can see the background.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm. If I recall correctly, Gray made that. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but yeah, shout out to Gray Ghost,
I love it.
newest member of the warband.
Yeah,
Contra.
yeah, and we were like talking well before, he officially joined. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, there's his channel in the comments, guys. But
There it is.
all right, Manic, thank you very much. It's a good thing you caught us at the last second here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I was recording and the recording just went on for 30 minutes longer than I thought it would be.
As is the case.
Yeah.
Hey,
just about.
Yeet's doing a Q&A stream tonight, right?
Let me.
I think so.
Let me
I think
check.
he said.
I haven't.
Yeah, but guys, once you're done here, go check out Sir Yeetus of the Warband, because I think he's doing a Q&A. I'm sure Gray's going to be there.
I mean, he just streamed 4 hours ago.
Yeah, at the end of that, he said he was going to do another one tonight.
Okay.
In fact, it should be starting any time now, because I think Yeetus is Central Time, right? So that I think he said 9 o'clock, which would be in an hour.
I feel I don't know. He doesn't schedule his streams until
No, he doesn't. He's like me in that regard.
No, I remember. I had my Neon White stream scheduled from the day before. Okay, I streamed Castle Crashers, and then right before that I scheduled the Neon White stream, and then I wake up that morning and it's oh, Sir Yeetus is streaming the exact same time. It's that's I'm gonna have to delay.
He's been in overdrive lately. But anyways, Manic, I'll see you out of here. We'll say goodbye to Black and Drex and to everyone else watching.
Peace out to everybody. Go play some frustrating games, man.
Hey, Black, you got anything to plug? Do you have a channel?
No channel yet, man. No channel.
Oh, okay.
No channel. But hey, I plug you guys. So I will make one quick comment. Cheap Deaths. I missed out on that part. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, the mutagen gun by Shredder.
Mutagen gun was real.
One hit quit.
I think there might be something that's even more offensive, though. I think there's one thing more offensive and more frustrating. In the regular Nintendo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when you had to do the swim level and you had to defuse the bombs. You're I'm a turtle that can't swim.
Cheap.
Cheap. It's just the cheapness. It was dude, you couldn't help but just get enraged, man. I miss it, man. Yeah, go out.
All right,
everybody,
guys.
go out there and play something frustrating, man. Peace out. Stay toxic, Kings.
Good night.
Have a good one.